What's up guys, welcome to Wasted Space, and we're back in Space Engineers, back with another viewer challenge, mostly because I was intending on spacing these out a bit more, maybe doing one a week, and one came up that I've been wanting to do for ages anyway. It's kind of along the same lines. So today we're doing Autocon 2002's challenge, and kind of it ties in a bit with Looney Rocket's challenge as well. But the idea was to make a ship that was completely disguised as a civilian vessel, but he gave me very specific requirements as to how it should be armed. So it needed to have interior and exterior turrets that were hidden, at least one of each, and it needed to have missile launchers on the outside somewhere. And these had to be hidden, and they had to be capable of being re-hidden as well. He basically put two challenges up, and I went for the harder one of the two straight away. So, awesome challenge, had a lot of fun, and what we have in front of me is what I've come up with, and it's actually the first time I've ever made a full large ship that was just for the sake of looking cool and with a couple of weapons on it, rather than something that was aimed at mining, for example. So let me give you a little tour of what is quite clearly, as the name says, a civilian transport. Yes, yes, no weapons here. So this is where you would board for your flight wherever you may be going as a civilian, or board if you were coming to inspect the craft, into the main observation deck, and where we sort of hang around during transport. Lovely views. Can come up front here for a better view forwards. Sit on one of these seats, or maybe even go up top here on one of the sides to have a look out, or a look down. All very innocuous. And then, Mr. Inspector, if you'd like to come and have a look at our engine bay down below, you'll see there's nothing untoward whatsoever. The usual reactors, gyroscopes, grav gens, a mysterious button that's here for this test demonstration purposes only. And then we can go up to the main flight deck. So obviously this is just the other side of the ship where you can board from this side. And if we go up to the main flight deck round the back here, VIPs perhaps get themselves a tour right up to the bridge. Come on, there we go. And we can take the elevator ride up to the top floor and have a look out the bridge slash flight deck, whatever you might want to call it. All very innocuous. So let's jump into the seat, and there you go. As you can see, externally we are unarmed, but of course we're not. I'm going to need 1 and 3. I'll turn the UI off, and coming into combat scenario now. And we are now fully equipped with 4 fully conveyored up front-facing rocket launchers on a separate hidden conveyor system to the rest, and 4 turrets on the rear, again conveyored up into the cargo system, so they are fully armed and ammoed. Pretty cool, I thought, and there we have kind of the outside answer to this particular challenge, so I'll do them one at a time. There's the rears going back in, and I used a flip mechanism for them, and then on the front I've actually used rotors again, although in a slightly different way. And these spin round and tuck quite neatly into the bodywork so that they aren't really even visible. So let's go down and have a quick look at both that and also how what we have downstairs works. And normally I would have to, I'm not going to bother taking the lift down, let's jetpack down. And normally I would have to activate a safety on the bridge for it to be safe to go downstairs. But in this case I've not set the thing we're about to go and have a look at to hostile, so we should be safe. So if we come down here, down into that innocuous cargo bay, and of course it's not quite so innocuous. So if we hit this switch, this door is going to open slower than perhaps I intended. Would be quite nice if that was a little bit quicker. I think I might have accidentally slowed it down rather than sped it up last time I was in the control panel. Let's go and sort that out. This is... Ah yes, I did. I managed to, instead of putting it up to 1, I managed to put it to 0.1. Good job. So this opens up. Now, this is obviously where the secrets are hidden. So should you manage to get access to this and you be an unauthorized person somehow, as you come through the door, that sensor will activate these 2 turrets. So as you see, if I just get out of its range, those 2 interior turrets are now on the second you come into this room. So they're my interior hidden turrets behind this wall, and going through how all of these are done, they're all using similar. We have an advanced rotor there, and it's just hooked onto the side of this blast door, and then I've carefully angled the blocks both sides, both that side and this side, in order to allow it to tilt a little bit. So it's only going to about 50 degrees in that position, but it allows it to lift up and kind of act kind of nicely as a hidden door. But also, if I go and whack this button to close it, all over the ship I've been using these flat walkway panels to disguise bits of what's going on. So for example, all along there, you may not have noticed it as I walked around, but that is actually the conveyor system that links up to the rocket launchers out the front. Same if we now go up and outside the ship again. These are covering a line of conveyors that the turrets are mounted to, and the entire thing is on a rotating platform at this end. And if you space things just right, you can line them up so there's no visible gap there, and as I back away you can see that it kind of merges into the other lines of the ship, and I've tried to make the ship kind of have a lot of complex lines on it so that these bits don't stand out so much. And then simply on this one I have the rotor triggered to turn 180 degrees, and it's all on a timer so that the turrets themselves don't turn on until the thing is flipped round, because otherwise it would start taking parts out of the inside of the ship as soon as it saw anything sort of aggressive, any sort of enemy. These ones at the front were probably the most difficult ones to actually tuck in. Again, I've got these panels, they are covering up, I've used them all over the side, in fact they're just covering up a conveyor there which links round, and if I go in here you can see internally, we've got a foot on the rotor as well, but that's by the by. Yeah, internally these are on the back and built out so that they just fit in here, and it's only just. Again, I've actually used one of those panels on the front to cover up a hole that from this side internally looks like there's nothing there, but externally you can see that it's there, but it's all nicely tucked in and nicely hidden. Now, one thing I have noticed with what's going on with these rotors is they will sometimes, and it's only sometimes, collide here. These blocks are set up like, if I delete these blocks, I'll just show you this. If I delete this block, it will let me place it again. So they're not touching, or I wouldn't be able to place it. But at the same time, they clearly are touching sometimes. So I think there's something a little bit skew-if with the rotors. It's potentially just that they're bouncing around a little bit because there's quite a heavy device on it. Now, the only other considerations I took with this was I built it entirely out of light armour, because obviously that's a lot less suspicious than a big heavy armoured ship. Again, on the bottom I kind of contoured it to try and hide things a little bit. In the end, there's nothing there. The only bit of this that's actually hiding anything proper is these hide the bottom of the turrets as they spin around. But yeah, the one thing I did want to ask, and the one thing that I thought could be kind of interesting with this, is I am rubbish at colours, partly because I'm actually colourblind, but I am terrible with colours. So what would you guys think would be a good sort of colour scheme for this ship here to try and make it seem more innocuous? I mean, maybe a blue, or, you know, as I said, I'm really bad at this, so I'm kind of asking, how would you guys paint this to make it seem more innocuous than it already is, and so people really just ignore it? And that's the idea here, is that you've got a vessel that externally approaches, no one can tell that there's anything untoward about it until the last minute when, boom, suddenly this is not quite so civilian carrier anymore. So thanks for that, AutoCon. It was really, really good fun building this one. I had a lot of fun just trying to work out all these things, and then that end result when you actually press the weapons and they spin around, it just looks cool. So thanks a lot for that idea. Anyone else got any other challenges, please throw them out there. I'm really loving all the input I'm getting on them, and there's a big old list now for me to work through. I'm kind of get to them as I can. I really appreciate that. So any more of those, please throw them out there. And otherwise, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like, please hit subscribe, really helps me and the channel out, and I will catch you next time.